For what purpose does the gentleman from Ohio rise?
Madam Speaker, the House is not in order.
Will the House come to order? Please take your conversations off the floor. Will the House come to order? The gentleman from Ohio.
Wait, I'm going to go forward.
Recognized.
Madam Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. The House is not in order.
Please proceed.
The form of the resolution is as follows. A resolution, articles of impeachment of George Bush, President of the United States. Resolved, that President George W. Bush be impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that the following articles of impeachment be exhibited to the United States Senate. Articles of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America in the name of itself and of the people of the United States of America in maintenance and support of its impeachment against President George W. Bush for high crimes and misdemeanors. In his conduct while President of the United States, George W. Bush, in violation of his constitutional oath to faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and to the best of his ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, has committed the following abuses of power. Article 1. Creating a secret propaganda campaign to manufacture a false case for war against Iraq. In his conduct while President of the United States, George W. Bush, in violation of his constitutional oath to faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and to the best of his ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of its constitutional duty under Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, has both personally and acting through his agents and subordinates, together with the Vice President, illegally spent public dollars on a secret propaganda campaign to manufacture a false cause for war against Iraq. The Department of Defense has engaged in a years-long secret domestic propaganda campaign to promote the...
The gentleman will suspend. The House will come to order. Please proceed.
The Department of Defense has engaged in a years-long secret domestic propaganda campaign to promote the invasion and the occupation of Iraq. The secret program was defended by the White House press secretary following its exposure. This program follows the pattern of crimes detailed in Articles 1, 2, 4, and 7. Strike that, 8. The mission of this program placed it within the field controlled by the White House Iraq Group, known as WIG, a White House task force formed in August 2002 to market an invasion of Iraq to the American people. The group included Karl Rove, I. Lewis Libby, Condoleezza Rice, Karen Hughes, Mary Matlin, Stephen Hadley, Nicholas E. Callio, and James R. Wilkinson. The White House Iraq Group, or WIG, produced white papers detailing so-called intelligence of Iraq's nuclear threat that later proved to be false. This supposed intelligence included the claim that Iraq had sought uranium from Niger, as well as the claim that the high-strength uranium tubes Iraq purchased from China were to be used for the sole purpose of building centrifuges to enrich uranium. Unlike the National Intelligence Estimate of 2002, the Whig's white paper provided, quote, gripping images and stories, unquote, and used, quote, literary license, unquote, with intelligence. The White House Iraq Group's white papers were written at the same time and by the same people as speeches and talking points prepared for President Bush and some of his top officials. The White House Iraq Group also organized a media campaign in which, between September 7th and 8th, 2002, President Bush and his top advisors appeared on numerous interviews and all provided similarly gripping images about the possibility of a nuclear attack by Iraq. The timing was no coincidence, as Andrew Card explained in an interview regarding waiting until Labor Day to try to sell the American people on military action against Iraq. He said, quote, from a marketing point of view, you don't introduce new products in August. The following quotes substantiate this article. September 7 to 8, 2002. NBC's Meet the Press. Vice President Cheney accused Saddam of moving aggressively to develop nuclear weapons over the past 14 months to add to his stockpile of chemical and biological arms. CNN. Then National Security Advisor Rice said, regarding the likelihood of Iraq obtaining a nuclear weapon, we don't want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud. On CBS, President Bush declared that Saddam was, quote, 6 months away from developing a weapon, unquote, and cited satellite photos of construction in Iraq where weapons inspectors once visited as evidence that Saddam was trying to develop nuclear arms. The Pentagon Military Analyst Propaganda Program was revealed in an April 20th, 2002 New York Times article. The program illegally involved, quote, covert attempts to mold opinion through the undisclosed use of third parties. Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld recruited 75 retired military officers and gave them talking points to deliver on Fox, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, and MSNBC, according to the New York Times report, which has not been disputed by the Pentagon or the White House. Quote, participants were instructed not to quote their briefers directly or otherwise describe their contacts with the Pentagon. According to the Pentagon's own internal documents, the military analysts were considered, quote, message force multipliers, unquote, or surrogates, who would deliver administration themes and messages to millions of Americans in the form of their own opinions. In fact, they did deliver the themes and the messages, but did not reveal that the Pentagon had provided them with their talking points. Robert S. Bevilacqua, a retired Green Beret and Fox News military analyst, described this as follows. He said, it was them saying, we need to stick our hands up your back and move your mouth for you. Congress has restricted annual appropriations bills since 1951 with this language, and I quote, no part of any appropriation contained in this or any other act shall be used for publicity or propaganda purposes within the United States not heretofore authorized by the Congress, unquote. A March 21st, 2005 report by the Congressional Research Service states that publicity or propaganda is defined by the U.S. Government Accountability Office, GAO, to mean either 1, self-aggrandizement by public officials, 2, purely partisan activity, or 3, covert propaganda.